At this point, the question is starting to arise, like, what should the Clippers do with Russell Westbrook in regards to either bringing him back or not? Now, me personally, I personally wouldn't bring Russell Westbrook back myself. I just think that, I stand on what I say, of what I said prior to the position I'm in now. I said before, Russell Westbrook played good for the Clippers. He played good this year. He played good in the playoffs, for the most part. And, he played good when he was asked to. He gave him everything he got. He gave all the energy he had. And he did everything he could, try to help the Clippers. But Kawhi not being healthy and Paul George not being healthy as well, just he can only do but so much. And I personally wouldn't bring Russell Westbrook back myself because, like I said, the Clippers, to me, they need a championship caliber point guard. And I've always stood on what I said. I think Russ is a great point guard. I think he's a Hall of Fame point guard because of the numbers and the attributes and things that he's accomplished. But winning a championship, I just don't think Russell Westbrook is the key to your team winning a championship. If he was, then like I said, I've said it before. How many superstars has Russell Westbrook played with now? He's played with Kawhi. He's played with PG twice. He's played with LeBron. He's played with AD. You know what I'm saying? He's played with James Harden. He's played with Kevin Durant. Can't forget about him. Look at all the talent Russell Westbrook has played with. You know what I'm saying? You can't play with that type of talent throughout your career and have not won a championship. He was with KD for like 10 years, I feel like. You know what I'm saying? So when you think about that in its entirety, like, damn, like you could sit there and say he's a Hall of Fame point guard all you want because that's what he is. He is a Hall of Fame point guard, but a championship point guard, I can't vouch for him there because when you look at the games, like game one, I will take an example for game one against the Suns in this first round. Kawhi Leonard scores 38 points. A lot of people sat there and made it seem like Russell Westbrook one big play against Devin Booker where he blocked it and threw it off Devin Booker's leg and went out of bounds. And the Clippers won that game, which I think they were up by 4 or 6 points. Even if he would have scored those 2 points, I still think the Clippers would have won because Kawhi was just in a rhythm and, free throws, Kawhi is definitely knocking those down. So I still feel like the Clippers would have won. But my point is a lot of people made it seem like that was the biggest play in the game. And really, it was one of the biggest play in the game. It was a couple other ones right before that, in there where you could say that was a game changer type play, turnover or something like that. But that was a very, very huge point in that game that really swung the momentum the Clippers' way. And they definitely was going to win the game after Russ did that against Devin Booker. But nobody talked about as much, or they didn't initiate as much, notoriety on the fact that Kawhi scored 38 points, very efficient, and he was guarding the hell out of Kevin Durant. And every now and then he would slide over and bother Devin Booker and CP3 when they were near his path as well. So it's like when you look at that, Russ shot 3 for 18 that game, which was piss poor horrible. Kawhi's 38 points was the reason why they won. It really wasn't Russell Westbrook's play off of Devin Booker. They was up by 4 or 6 points at that time. So it's like, I still think they would have found a way to pull that out, even if he scores 2 points. But my point is, if it weren't for Kawhi's 38 points, they wouldn't even had an opportunity to win. There wouldn't even been no play by Russell Westbrook on that specific play he did with Devin Booker because it wouldn't have mattered. They would have lost by double digits probably if Kawhi didn't guard the heck out of KD and drop an efficient 38 and dominate the game the way he did. I mean, the way he dominated that game, we all saw who the best player was going to be in that series. And it wasn't going to be Kevin Durant, and it damn sure wasn't going to be Devin Booker. It was going to be Kawhi Leonard because Kawhi can just dominate a series that way. But as I said before, the Clippers messed up to me by putting so much on Kawhi the last part of the season where you wore down a lot of his energy. You wore down a lot on his knee. All them games he was playing 40-something minutes against the Pelicans and all that just to try to fight and keep that 5th seed so they wouldn't fall in the play-in tournament where they would have had to fight and claw their way out of that just to get into the playoffs. That was too much. The Clippers shouldn't even have had to go through all that. And I say that, respectfully because I personally think if they wouldn't have got Russell Westbrook at that trade deadline, Terrence Mann was playing very good for the Clippers. Terrence Mann was playing so good for them. I mean, I think they would have found a way to find a way to maybe possibly grab that third seed away from the Sacramento Kings, where the Kings would be in the fourth or fifth seed, where they would have had to play the Suns in the first round. And that would have, changed a lot, in effect to the situation. If they're in the third seed and they play the Warriors in the first round, that's still a tough matchup. But the Warriors are a piss poor team on the road, besides maybe the other night when they actually beat the Suns. When they actually beat the Kings, which is the first road win I think the Warriors had in I don't know how long. But I'm just saying primarily they're a bad road team, so the Clippers can win 4 straight home games and win that series. But even still, if Kawhi gets injured, you still have a better chance against that team, to me, because Draymond is older, Splash Brothers are older, and on top of that, the Clippers' depth can bother a lot of what the Warriors do, and they just gotta hope. They just would have had to hope that Jordan Poole wouldn't have went off, but even still, they still had a better chance to come out that series, I think, if Kawhi and PG went down rather than in the series with the Suns. And of course, they wouldn't have had Russell Westbrook, but it doesn't matter with Russ. You're not going to win a championship anyway, because as I said before, he's a Hall of Fame point guard due to the attributes that he's did with the triple doubles and things like that. But he's never won championships. He's not a championship high IQ caliber type point guard. And to me, when the Clippers had chances to get other players about a year ago or so, they had chances to get Fred VanVleet, Mike Conley. Then you heard about Kyle Lowry and a couple of others. They should have jumped on those type point guards, especially one like a Kyle Lowry or somebody like that, because he's won a championship. He knows what it takes. He's tough. He's gritty. Or even if they would have got, Mike Conley. Mike has never won a championship, but he's a more in control point guard. He doesn't turn the ball over as much, and he definitely doesn't turn it over at times in the fourth quarter to give the other team momentum, something that Russ does all the time, and something that Russ did in the Suns series several times that went unnoticed in the beginning because Kawhi was playing so good the first 2 games. And the fact that Kawhi played the second game with a torn meniscus, he really gave his all for this team, as much as he could. And some of these fans that's, along with Stephen A. Smith and some analysts talking about he should retire, shame on you. Shame on you for even thinking that, because this guy has put everything he could on the line for this organization who's never won a championship before him and who's never had a better star player than he is for this team. And like I said, I know it's frustrating that the Clippers didn't win, but you can't sit there and blame it all on Kawhi, because Kawhi can't win a championship by himself. He just can't do it. And trust me, even if Kawhi stayed healthy this 7-game series against the Suns, it wasn't no guarantee they were going to come out that series anyway, because Kawhi might have wore down eventually anyway by game 4 or 5 offensively and everything, because he's trying to guard those 3-star players on the other team, and his knee might have bothered him by that time anyway, to where it would have altered him from some of the things that he usually does in the postseason. Because for some reason with the Clippers, Kawhi has to do everything times 2 to help this team win. Think about it a couple seasons ago against the Dallas Mavericks. It took Kawhi to be a basketball god to get them out the first round against a Dallas Mavericks team with a young Luka Doncic, and he didn't even have a Kyrie Irving type help. Hell, I don't even know if he had Jalen Brunson type help. Jalen Brunson was probably good, but I think he was coming off the bench then. He's not the player that he is now. So this is my point. It took everything he had to beat a team like that with one young guy that's a superstar or up-and-coming superstar, and they had Kawhi and PG, and it took everything he had to get out that round 1 series, where it's maybe Kawhi wouldn't get as hurt or anything like that if he doesn't have to expend so much energy trying to keep this team afloat, because they're not playing worth a damn. And like I said, nobody wants to bring that up, but it's the truth. You look at the last part of this season, why did Kawhi have to play like a basketball god once again just to get them into the playoffs so they wouldn't fall into the play-in tournament or out of the playoffs, period? You see what I'm saying? Because they went and got Russell Westbrook, a wild card, which I like Russ, of course, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, he's a wild card. You don't know what you're getting from night to night. And ever since they got Russell Westbrook, I knew in my mind, I said, there's a possibility. Of course they can win a championship. It's always a possibility if Kawhi Leonard's on your team, but it's a very big possibility that they won't, because Russell Westbrook psychologically, he's just hard to deal with. I mean, he can play good at times, and then he can do some boneheaded, dumb plays and turnovers. You'd be like, man, why did he do that? Or why did he make that pass? He knew that was going to be a turnover. I saw it. I saw that was going to be a turnover before Russ even did it. You know what I'm saying? You as a fan says that sometime, or say that to yourself sometime when Russ make plays when you see him on TV or you see him in person. So why the hell did Russ do it? You see what I'm saying? Russ' decision making is bad, and he has the worst hands I ever seen for a point guard ever in history. So it's like, how are you going to win a championship with somebody that has all that type of doubt surrounding them? You see what I'm saying? So it's like, it's really tough to win with Russell Westbrook. That's the reason why Russ has played with several superstars. We're not talking about average players. He's played with several superstars and has not won a championship. And he played with Kevin Durant for like 9 or 10 years and didn't win a championship. So that ought to tell you something. So my point is, all the Kawhi slander and all this other stuff, PG slander, don't slander them, because like I said, they did the best they could, even though it's not to your expectations, but it doesn't matter. Clippers Nation, the Clippers never won a championship in team history. So you can't blame Kawhi and them for not doing something nobody else has ever done for your organization in history. You can't blame them. It's just hard to win for this organization. It really is. An injury bug will happen. It seems like something that's going to happen or something that's going to go wrong. It seems like it's just going to happen to the Clippers more than any other team. That's what it seems like to me. I don't know. I don't believe in curses and all that crap, but man, I tell you, this team definitely has a dark cloud over them that a lot of people, acknowledge, and some don't want to acknowledge, but wow, that's crazy, To me, if you can't win with a Kawhi and PG or somebody of those guys of those calibers, like I don't understand how you're going to win it. But regardless, it's just another bust season for the Clippers. And, Russ, I personally don't think the Clippers should bring him back because, like I said, I don't think they can win a championship with Russell Westbrook. I just don't. When I looked at this first round against the Clippers and Clippers versus the Suns, some of the turnovers I saw in the playoffs just was not worthy of winning a championship. And like I said, if it weren't for Kawhi playing godly like the first 2 games with his torn meniscus, I mean, they would have got swept easily. You know what I'm saying? Because if Kawhi had a subpar game, like 25, 26 points, that first game, they would have got beat. And they got beat the second game with him scoring 31. But still, like I said, some of Russ' turnovers, like I'm looking at the games, I'm like, man, Russ, why did you do that? That you knew that was going to be a turnover if you made that pass. Why don't you just be more in control of your game? And Russ just don't know how to do that. And that's the reason why Russ doesn't win championships. He's not a part of a championship, roster wherever he goes, or DNA where he goes, because it's like I said, you look at the Lakers now compared to when they had Russell Westbrook, they look like a whole completely different team. They really do. And they're going to let go of Russell Westbrook, and the Clippers are going to try to show the Lakers, oh, we could pick him up and we could put him in the starting lineup and we'll win a championship with him. That didn't work out, did it? And as I said, it would have been even harder on Kawhi if he did stay healthy, because Russ is going to turn the ball over at times where it's going to demoralize Kawhi mentally and make him check out. So it's like, when you think about that, I wouldn't bring Russ back for that specifically, but as I said before, we'll see what the Clippers do. If they do bring him back, so be it. If Kawhi and them comes back, so be it. We'll see how it all pans out. But really, the Clippers are in just a bad situation, if you ask me, because, everything looks so bad and so horrid right now. And like I said, the health of your superstars is always in question. And Russell Westbrook played good for you, but you don't know if you can count on that going forward, because consistency is not something Russ is good at unless it's consistently given turnovers. Other than that, he's not really consistent in anything else. I mean, it's hit or miss with everything else. So with that being said, the decision's on the Clippers, and they got a tough one to make.